They don't want you to be calm. They don't want you to be quiet. Because calm people are dangerous. Quiet people don't play by their rules. And the moment you understand this, you stop being controlled. This isn't motivation. This is survival. They never send a warning. When life decides to break you, it doesn't tap you on the shoulder. It doesn't knock politely to see if you're ready. It hits hard. And when it does, most people shatter. They crumble into pieces. They cry out, reaching for someone, anyone, to put them back together. They run to comfort like a wounded animal runs to its cage. They beg for warmth, for safety, for someone to tell them it's going to be okay. But you, if you want to rise, truly rise, if you want to build a mind that stands when others fall, you can't do what most people do. You can't fold. You can't chase comfort. You can't seek applause or pity. Because power isn't born in comfort. It's born in the wreckage. It's forged in betrayal, abandonment, and storms you didn't ask for. Machiavelli never wrote for the safe, the pampered, the untouched. He wrote for the ones who had already been betrayed, discarded, humiliated. Because only then, when you've lost something you thought you could never lose, does the real game begin. When life breaks you, it's not just breaking your plans. It's testing your mind. It's watching what you do next. You want to know who you really are. Let it all collapse. Let the money go. Let the friends leave. Let the future blur into fog. You'll meet yourself there, in the middle of that storm. And if your mind is weak, you'll rot in self-pity. But if your mind is cold, alert, and detached, you will evolve. Pain is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It's the oldest, most honest teacher on earth. And it separates the fragile from the forged. If you let it, pain will strip away the softness that made you breakable. It will carve out a mind that bends for nothing and no one. Because here's the truth. This world doesn't care how you feel. It only responds to what you become. So when they leave you in the dark, don't scream, don't beg. Sit in silence. Watch yourself. Watch your thoughts crawl up from the floor of your mind. Dissect your emotions like a surgeon with a knife. Find your weakness and starve it. Don't reach outward for rescue. Reach inward for reconstruction. Because once you've built a mind that cannot be broken, not by loss, not by betrayal, not by fear, you will be free. And freedom is power. You are not here to be liked. You are not here to be soft. You are here to become dangerous to anything that ever tried to break you. If you feel that shift inside you right now, etch this line into your mind and type it into the world. Pain sharpens my power. Number 1. Weak minds seek comfort. Strong minds seek control. When most people get hurt, they start looking for one thing: relief, a distraction, a temporary high. Something to make the ache go away for a few minutes. They run to friends. They drown themselves in noise. They bury their hands in addictions, food, screens, meaningless escapes, just so they don't have to sit alone with their mind. But comfort is a silent killer, and the world knows it. If they can keep you addicted to ease, they'll never have to fear you. Because a mind that needs comfort will never climb high enough to see how the game is played. Machiavelli would tell you this: control is the highest form of power. But it doesn't start with other people. It starts with you. It starts with controlling the very thing the world tries to hijack: your reaction to pain. Most people have been trained to numb themselves. They scroll, they binge, they blame, all so they never have to face the real war, the one raging inside their own head. But here's the brutal truth: the one who rules their own mind rules the world. While others chase pleasure, You will train focus. While they seek reassurance, you will sit in discomfort. While they panic, you will plan. That isn't heartlessness. That is self-mastery. And self-mastery is a dominance. People will call you cold when you stop reacting the way they expect. Let them. They say that because they can no longer manipulate you. Your silence will scare them. Your indifference will offend them. But you don't need their understanding. You need your mind to obey you, even under fire. You don't get there by staying soft. You get there by standing face to face with your darkest thoughts and refusing to flinch. If you're ready to train your mind past emotion, past weakness, past the craving for comfort, write it now. My control is my revenge. Say it, own it, live it. Number 2, break the emotion, build the edge. You were never weak because life hurt you. You became weak because you let emotion take the wheel. When you let feeling dictate your movement, you hand over your mind like a weapon to your enemy. You give them the keys to your reactions. You make yourself predictable. And in war, whether on a battlefield or in everyday life, the predictable are the first to fall. Pain is inevitable. Loss is inevitable. Disappointment is inevitable. But the meaning you attach to those things, that is yours to command. In the psychology of power, the one who controls meaning controls everything. Life may break your body, but if it breaks your mind, it's because you handed it over willingly. And here's the part that most people can't accept. Reacting emotionally doesn't make you real. It makes you readable. It makes you a book they've already memorized. The world studies you. They learn which words cut you. They see which moves push you into rage, sadness, or shame. And once they know your triggers, they don't even have to touch you. They just press the right buttons and watch you unravel. That's why the next evolution of your mind is this. You become emotionally disciplined. Not emotionless, disciplined. You still feel, but your feelings are contained, controlled, directed. You feel the heat, but you don't lash out. You feel the sting, but you don't retreat. You let emotion run its course in private, behind locked doors, where it can't be used against you. You stop wasting words on people who have already decided who you are. You stop fighting to be understood by those who have no interest in understanding you. Why? Because your focus is sacred, and sacred things are not thrown into the street. Machiavelli wrote that it is safer to be feared than loved. In psychological warfare, love can soften you, tie you to illusions, trap you in obligation. Fear keeps people cautious. It keeps them guessing. It forces them to think twice before crossing you. This is the edge you are building now. Not just strength, sharpness. Not just defense, precision. The kind of presence that doesn't need to shout to be felt. The kind of discipline that doesn't flinch under fire. So the next time life throws flames at you, do not react. Do not explain. Do not beg. Stand still. Let the fire pass through you without burning your core. You've been broken before. This time, you will break through. If you're ready to replace emotional chaos with cold, calculated mental dominance, say it, I feel nothing. I move with precision. Burn it into your mind. Etch it into your actions. Number 3. Rewrite the narrative or stay broken. Most people never escape their pain because they keep telling the same story. The story of what was done to them, the story of who hurt them, the story of how unfair it all was. And in repeating that story, they keep themselves chained to it. They wear their suffering like a badge, hoping the world will finally acknowledge it. But Machiavellian power is never given through pity. It's taken through strategy. If you want to be untouchable, you must burn the script life handed you and write your own. Tear out every line that calls you a victim. Erase every sentence that says you were meant to lose. Delete the illusion that life owes you anything, because life owes you nothing. But it will give you everything if you prove you're ruthless enough to take it. Your trauma is not your personality. Your pain is not your identity. Stop calling it your truth. It was a chapter, a trial, a test. Now close the book. You're not here to tell the world what happened to you. You are here to show the world who you became because of it. People will try to drag you back into the past. They will speak to the version of you they think still exists. Make sure that version is dead, because the moment you destroy that weaker self, you control the narrative. And perception, in the Machiavellian sense, is more powerful than reality. When you walk, carry silence like a blade. When you speak, make each word a strike. When you are doubted, don't argue. Exceed. And when life hits you again, because it will, you will not crumble, you will calculate, you will adapt, you will use it. Because a man trained in pain becomes fluent in strategy. Some nights, your own mind will feel like the enemy. Doubts will crawl in. The urge to disappear will whisper in your ear. In that moment, you will have a choice: collapse or construct. You don't need more hope. You need more control. Discipline outlasts motivation. It is the steel in your spine when everything else bends. So carve this truth into yourself. I killed the old me. I walk as the weapon. Let the weak scroll past. You are building something they will never touch again. 4. Control your emotional display. Even if you're boiling. Inside, most people think that controlling your emotions means not feeling them. That's a myth. Control does not mean numbness. It means mastery. It means you feel the full storm inside you, the pounding heart, the tight jaw, the heat rising in your chest. And yet, to the outside world, your face is an ocean on a windless day. This is why people who have mastered emotional control seem almost unnerving, because they can be in the middle of an inferno and still look like they're sipping tea. Why emotional control is a power game. Every heated conversation, every argument, every provocation is secretly a battle for emotional control. If your opponent makes you raise your voice, they've already won. If they can make you visibly frustrated, you've just told them where to push next time. If they can make you look shocked, angry, or scared, you've handed them a map to your weaknesses. In politics, negotiation, business, relationships, emotional control, it is currency. Lose it, and you bankrupt your influence. Think of it like poker. You can have the worst cards in the world. But if your opponent can't read your face, they have no idea whether to bet against you or fold. The moment your expression betrays your hand, the game is over. The Machiavellian Principle. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He knew that rulers, generals, and power brokers could lose empires not because of poor strategies, but because they let their emotions leak out for enemies to read. A ruler who looks visibly afraid invites rebellion. A commander who looks desperate tells his troops the battle is lost before it even begins. A negotiator who looks too eager has already given away the price. Machiavelli would say, "Control your face, and you control the room." The psychological effect of emotional stillness. Humans are wired to react to emotions in others. When someone shows anger, we either mirror it or submit to it. When someone shows fear, we sense danger ourselves. But when someone shows nothing, something strange happens. The human brain hates uncertainty. It would rather deal with open aggression than with an unreadable face. Because with aggression, you know where you stand. With emotional stillness, the mind starts to spiral. What are they thinking? Why aren't they reacting? Do they know something I don't? Are they planning something? And here's the twist. While they're busy overthinking your silence, you're gaining time. Time to observe, time to strategize, time to decide your next move while they trip over theirs. The illusion of weakness. People think showing emotion makes them relatable. And yes, in friendship, vulnerability builds trust. But in a high-stakes game, a negotiation, a power struggle, a confrontation, showing too much emotion makes you predictable. Here's the danger. Once they know what triggers you, they can push those buttons whenever they want. If they know you hate being interrupted, they'll interrupt you at the worst moment. If they know flattery makes you soften, they'll use it right before they make their request. Your emotions become a lever, and once they've found the lever, you've just given them a way to move you at will. The art of the blank face. Now let's be clear. I'm not talking about cold, robotic detachment. That's not power. That's just awkward. What I'm talking about is controlled presence. You're fully there, engaged, listening, but your expression is steady. Think of a chess master. He could be 3 moves from losing, but he's leaning back in his chair, hands relaxed, eyes calm. You can't tell if he's in trouble or about to trap you. That uncertainty keeps his opponent on edge. How to train. Emotional Control 1. Anticipate emotional triggers before entering any high-stakes situation. Ask yourself, what could they say or do that might throw me off? Prepare your responses in advance. If you expect the punch, it's easier to block it. 2. Master your breathing. When emotions surge, your breathing changes, faster, shallower. Slow it down deliberately. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 2, exhale for 6. Your body calms, and so does your face. 3. Use pauses as a weapon. When provoked, don't respond instantly. Take a sip of water, adjust your seat. Let the silence stretch. That pause tells them you're not rattled, you're calculating. 4. Detach the narrative from the feeling. Recognize I am feeling anger, instead of they are making me angry. The first gives you power over it. The second gives them power over you. 5. Practice in low-stakes environments. Train yourself in everyday conversations, especially when someone's being irritating. If you can keep a calm face when the barista messes up your coffee order, you can keep it when someone's trying to publicly humiliate you. The counterintuitive benefit. When you control your emotional display, 2 things happen. You stop feeding your opponent's strategy. They can't manipulate what they can't read. You control the tempo of interaction. In conversations, the one who sets the emotional tone often sets the outcome. If you're calm, you force them to either match your calmness or look unbalanced in contrast. An example in action, a CEO is in a board meeting. A hostile shareholder challenges her authority, raises his voice, throws accusations. The room is tense. Cameras are recording. If she bites back immediately, she's feeding his performance. If she looks rattled, he wins. Instead, she takes a slow sip of water, looks at him steadily, waits for the room to fall silent. Then, in a calm tone, says, "Are you finished?" The silence after those 3 words is louder than any shouting could have been, because in that moment she showed she was unshaken, and now the pressure is on him to justify himself. Why this works in any arena business. Negotiators can't lowball you if they can't read your excitement about the deal. Politics. Opponents can't bait you into making headlines if you don't give them the sound bite. Personal life. Toxic people lose interest when they realize they can't get a reaction from you. The ability to feel deeply but reveal selectively is a hallmark of psychological strength. Final truth power isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the one no one can read, the one who chooses when and how to reveal what they feel. Emotional control is a shield, a sword, and a silent crown. And the moment you master it, you stop playing their game and make them play yours. Part 5. The weight of silence. They expected you to speak. Not just expected, they counted on it. Because words are not just sounds. Words are confessions. Words are footprints. Words are cracks in the armor. If you say too much, they will know where you stand. If you say too little, they will guess. And sometimes that's all they need. Most people do not realize that the moment they open their mouth in conflict, they have already begun to lose. Not because they are wrong, not because they are weak, but because they have given away the first weapon, their position. In the art of psychological warfare, there is something more powerful than a brilliant argument. It is silence. You may think silence is passive, that it is weakness, that it is submission. But ask yourself, why does silence make so many people uncomfortable? Because silence forces the other person to hear themselves. When they insult you and you don't respond. When they accuse you and you simply watch them. When they try to provoke you and you give them nothing. Something happens in their mind. They begin to fight themselves. They replay their words. They doubt their tone. They question whether they've gone too far. They start to fill the empty space you left with their own guilt. In power games, silence is like a mirror. It doesn't tell them what they want to hear. It shows them who they are. And the more they see themselves, the more they crumble. But silence is not just about keeping your lips closed. It's about controlling the energy in the room. You see, silence without presence is invisible, but silence with presence is heavy. That's why some people can walk into a room, say nothing, and everyone notices, and others can stay quiet all day, yet they disappear into the background. The difference? One has self-mastery, the other has self-doubt. If you want silence to be a weapon, you must pair it with certainty. You must look like you are choosing not to speak. Not that you are afraid to speak. That means your body must be still. Your breathing must be calm. Your eyes must be steady. Because the moment you fidget, glance away, or shift your weight, the other person senses fear. And fear is blood in the water. Machiavelli once wrote that people judge more by the eye than by the hand. In other words, they decide what you are before they ever test you. And your silence will only be feared if your presence commands it. But there's another layer, a more dangerous one. Sometimes silence isn't about winning a conversation. Sometimes it's about creating space, and in that space, the other person will reveal everything you need to know. Here's how it works. 1. You say, less than necessary. Not just in arguments, in every interaction. You give them just enough to keep talking. 2. You listen more than they expect. Most people listen only to reply. You listen to collect. 3. You create a void. Humans hate voids in conversation. They will fill it with whatever is on their mind, sometimes secrets they never planned to share. 4. You watch patterns, not moments. One word means nothing, but repeated slips, repeated hesitations, repeated stories. That's where the truth hides. This is why the most dangerous person in the room is not the loudest. It's the one who watches, waits, and says nothing until the exact moment their words will land like a blade. Think of a predator. It does not roar before the hunt. It moves in silence until it is too late for its prey to run. Your words should work the same way, not scattered like stones, but sharp, precise, and released only when victory is already certain. But silence is not just about others. It's also about you. Because if you can't sit in silence with yourself, if you can't be alone without reaching for your phone, the TV, the music, if you need constant noise to feel safe, then you will never master the silence between you and another person. People who are uncomfortable in silence rush to fill it. And when you rush to fill it, you reveal things that should never leave your lips. Secrets, fears, your real opinions. Silence with others begins with silence within yourself. And here's the irony. The world today worships noise. Social media wants you to post everything. News channels want you to react to everything. People want instant replies, instant opinions, instant outrage. And if you can resist that, if you can hold your tongue, if you can wait before you respond, if you can let them wonder what you think, you have already separated yourself from the crowd. The next time someone tries to drag you into their storm, remember this: the storm survives only if you throw wood on the fire. No wood, no flames. Your silence will suffocate their drama. Your calm will be the thing they cannot stand. And when they finally break the silence just to ask what's on your mind, you will know you've already won.